Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from virtual Cedar Lake Speedway. And last time I checked, it's Tuesday. Last time I checked, it's 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Last time I checked, that means it is the Dirt Revival Tour. You're watching it right here on Arsenal TV. Don't forget the saying, DRT on ATV. Classic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for this evening, Mac. The people on the internet call me Arsenal. And tonight, we have the start of the end for these drivers. We are only 3 race weeks away from crowning a World Drivers Champion in the DRT. And right now, looking at last week, I know, I had a little bit of an absence. I understand that. I accept it. However, that doesn't mean these drivers didn't put on one heck of a show, and looking at the points, that would further solidify that opinion. Jesse Newsom currently in the lead with 619 points in the series. Now I'm going to explain this, and drop weeks are not going to be added in yet. So when you hear somebody's in a certain place or whatnot, all it means is that they are provisionally in that position. That does not mean that is where they are going to end up. There are drop weeks that do become affected. People are going to lose points. People are going to gain points. Yada, yada, yada. You understand how it works, I'm sure. So right now, Jesse Newsom is currently your championship leader with 619 points. The Big H, Hayden Tollison, is going to be in second place in the World Drivers' Championship with 563 points, which means he is only, quick math, 56 points behind Jesse Newsom. That is attainable. That is 110% attainable. In P3, it is going to be Robbie Buchanan Jr. RBJ, very good driver. He impresses all season long. We know that from him. We are used to seeing that from him, as I have to do the weekly shuffleboard to figure out who is actually qualifying. You're going to see a fair few weird things. Mason Cassidy is currently out there, along with Dylan Jones, Jesse Newsom, Justin Byram. So as soon as somebody puts down a time, you guys will be able to see it in the top left scoring tower, per usual. We'll ride on board here with Justin Byram as he is coming across the start-finish line for his first timed lap. He's going to take that middle line through 1 and 2. He's going to try to cut down a little bit, give it a late apex around the corner. Mason Cassidy is going to be running your fastest lap currently with a 12.754. Justin Byram, unfortunately, in provisional last place. I don't think that's where he'll end up. But across the line, again, it is going to be a 13.233. So not going to do better. Jesse Newsom yet to have a lap count. I take that back. 12.832 is going to be his time. It just registered a little late up here in the scoring tower, so I apologize about that. Clayton Clewell now coming out along with James Murphy, Zach Weisenfla, Derek Darnell as well. We'll hop on board with Clayton Clewell here, owner of Elite Signs and Graphics. You'll see their logo popping up over the top right all night long. Look at that. I just summoned it. That's how good I am out of Zanesville, Ohio. Give them a call if you need any of your signs or graphics done. More Metalworks Welding and Fabrication. Same goes for them. We appreciate them for sponsoring the series. Contact them for all of your welding and fab needs. All of their information can be found in the Discord. All you got to do is type !DRT, I believe, in my Twitch chat. Unfortunately, I do not have a command for YouTube yet. But shout out to all the viewers over on YouTube the past 2 weeks. Beating out the Twitch numbers by, I mean, just barely. We'll have to see what platform performs better this week. As giving you a little update, Mason Cassidy still provisional poll, James Murphy, Zach Weisenfla, Jesse Newsom, Dylan Jones, Justin Byram, Leighton Leewell. Dylan Domastro is already out on the track, same with Aaron Bowman, Brandon Jones, and Derek Darnell. Aaron Bowman and that number 44, just an absolute beautiful livery there on his super late model. He is unfortunately not going to have a very good opening lap, as he runs a 13.104, coming back around. He's going to do a little bit better, 0.2 better to be exact, 12.914. Dylan Domastro just barely ahead of him with a 12.911. Looks like Ethan Stuckwish is on deck along with the Big H, Hayden Tullison. One of our championship contenders here tonight. Back to the sponsors, though. I want to thank Coast to Coast Sim Sports as well. Everybody at the DRT would like to thank all of these sponsors. Coast to Coast Sim Sports, they house some of the best drivers on the service. Jesse Newsom, your current championship leader, is indeed a part of that squad. But Hayden Tullison, as he comes around, Hayden Tullison is going to run a 12.838, so almost an identical time to his championship rival, and really just service rival. These guys are going at it all the time. Hayden Tullison representing the other Titan inside of the dirt racing world in Midwest Sim Sports. As we're now looking at Will Bennett, Justin Sick, Derek Jester, who are going to be attempting their qualifying laps right now. We'll hop on board with Will Bennett here, as he was the first one to cross the start finish around 1 and 2. He's got good momentum. Or sorry, 3 and 4, now going through 1 and 2 on the high line. He's going to drop it down low for 3 and 4. He's going to wash out real high, though. Can't really carry the momentum. That's going to be a 13.048. 13.026 is his current best. And he gets it up to a 12.916. That's going to put him in P12. As it looks like Casey Borgmeyer might be. Yes, he is. Along with Samuel Lawson, Tyson Banks. We'll hop on board with Tyson Banks for this one because he is in P4 in the World Drivers' Championship for the Dirt Revival Tour. However, it is a pretty sizable gap to the third place sitter currently, RBJ. So a little less pressure on him. He is, you know, I'm not going to say locked in because anything can happen, but he's sitting real pretty for that best of the rest P4 position. So all he has to do is go out, race his heart out, and hope the top three make some sort of mistake and he can sneak back into this championship fight. But putting up a time of 13.017 isn't going to help his efforts. We're currently looking at Nate Wimhoff in that number 48. He's been involved in some crazy racing here at the DRT this season. Ian Lindell as well, Michael Coate, and RBJ. That's who we'll hop on board with. RBJ coming into 3 and 4. This is going to be his first time to lap, more than likely just building some speed. He's going to wash up in 1 and 2, try to keep that momentum high, his speed high, his car pointed the right way. It's going to put him at a 12.994, not going to move any in the positions, currently sitting P16. And coming across it again, he's going to jump up to P15 with a 12.952. So doing the best with what he can here. As that might be it for qualifying. Not. Oh, no, it's not. I apologize. Troy DeShong in that number 21 super late model. Not a name I'm entirely familiar with. Not sure. He does not have any points registered in the series. This might be his first race. And coming in at week 8, or round 8 of 10, is definitely a choice. I don't know if I rate it. But Troy DeShong going to be running a 13.14. I mean, he's got the table scraps when it comes to track conditions compared to what these guys had. Although Scott Merrick running a 12.982, that's going to put him in P17. So very good run out of Scott Merrick. Very good run indeed. I just want to remind you guys, if you are on YouTube, if you don't mind, hit that like button. It helps out the channel. It helps out the broadcast a ton. It would be extremely helpful. Of course, not required, although if you do enjoy the DRT broadcast every week here, brought to you by myself here at Arsenal TV, it would be very, very much appreciated. So with that being said, qualifying is over with. We are getting ready to see heat race action. In your top 10 from qualifying. Oh, I'm missing laps, allegedly. Everybody had a time down. I think I might have just missed Jeffrey Hyatt. I do apologize for that if I did. So sorry to all the Jeffrey Hyatt fans out there. I do apologize for that. However, your top 10 in qualifying here tonight sits as Mason Cassidy on pole, James Murphy, Zach Weisenflood, Jesse Newsom, Hayden Tollison, Dylan Jones, Justin Byram in P7. Something you don't see every day out of the coast-to-coast manager. P8 is going to be Ethan Stuckwish, Casey Borgmeyer, and Dylan Del Mastro rounding out that top 10. I'm very, and I mean very interested to see how Justin Byram holds up in the front of the pack. This very well could be cinema. And unfortunately, Scott Merrick, he has now moved. He is no longer a Zimbabwean driver. And he is now from the Virgin Islands. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for heat race number 1. And with that being said, it's time to go over your starting grid. In P9, Troy Dishong. P8, Nate Wimhoff. P7, Justin Sick. P6, Derek Darnell. P5, Will Bennett. Dylan Del Mastro is going to be in 4th. Justin Byram sitting in 3rd. Jesse Newsom sitting in P2. And your pole sitter for heat race number 1, Mason Cassidy in that number 317 super late model. And I'm just now realizing it says round 4 up there. I apologize. There you go. Round 8. We have saved the broadcast. As that iRacing pickup truck is going to do one more lap around, we will be locked and loaded for 10 laps of heat racing here. I said it at the top of the broadcast. It is time for the beginning of the end for this season. What memories will we make tonight? Mason Cassidy sparks the flame. We are racing at Cedar Lake. Mason Cassidy with some excellent defensive driving on that opening lap, planting his car right in the middle of the racetrack. It was going to be difficult for anybody to pass him on the bottom and the high side. However, I think maybe a little bit of contact there between Mason Cassidy and the number 6. The number 6, that's Jesse Newsom, sporting a brand new looking car and deciding to change his number as well. But Jesse Newsom now driving on that high side, trying to find all the grip he can up there where the angels sing. Now he's going to bring it real low in here, coming through 3 and 4. 4 laps left to go here. Or sorry, 4 now. 4 this time by. As Jesse Newsom is extending this lead heavily. Will Bennett is fighting for scraps back here with Mason Cassidy and Derek Darnell. Derek Darnell slow rolling it. Usually you would find that around the bottom, but he's doing it in the middle of the track. Now he takes it down low. Seemed like he carried more momentum going down low than he did through the middle. Must have a very tailored setup on that number 86 late model. Will Bennett now with a little bit of an advantage, going for Mason Cassidy's P2 spot. He is running a tiny bit faster than him. White flag in the air. Can Mason Cassidy hold on to this P2 silver spot on the podium? Jesse Newsom, like he always does, is going to come across the start-finish line first. Mason Cassidy is going to get that second place with Will Bennett right behind him. It was a 0.2 of a second gap. And that is going to be your podium for heat race number 1. And I'm receiving special instruction from race control to go back. Unfortunately, I can't do that right now. So your grid for heat race number 2 here is going to be Jeffrey Hyatt in P9, Sam Lawson in P8, Tyson Banks all the way back here in P7, not where he needs to be if he wants to keep his championship dreams alive. Scott Merrick in P6, Brandon Jones in 5th, Aaron Bowman in P4, Ethan Stuckwish P3, the Big H, Hayden Tullison, is going to be in P2, and your pole sitter for heat race number 2, James Murphy, the Twisted Speed driver, repping that number 65. As here we go with the iRacing official pace truck. And James Murphy is up, and away. Here we go. Heat race number 2. He's going to wash up high early first corner. Hayden Tullison is side by side. We are going racing. Hayden Tullison and James Murphy here. Hayden Tullison trying to jockey for position down low. Maybe push James Murphy off the racing line. It's not going to work in that corner. However, he is strapped to that rear bumper. Hayden Tullison is going to run 6,000ths of a second, or 600ths of a second faster. I apologize. That lap, so not going to mean a whole lot. As these two drivers giving it everything they got. Back behind them, Ethan Stuckwish is keeping about a half car length lead on Aaron Bowman. Those two would really love a good feature starting position here late in the season. A nice little, is that NWO on the hood of Ethan Stuckwish? Shout out all the wrestling fans. Hayden Tullison, he had the position, but James Murphy had the momentum coming into that back straight, and I really thought James Murphy was going to have an oopsie moment there, but Hayden Tullison is quick on the rear. Pause. And he is going to overtake James Murphy there. What a fantastic overtake from Hayden Tullison. James Murphy bringing it right back, though. Coming across the start-finish line, 2 to go. Ethan Stuckwish is now just randomly in this fight. James Murphy from pole to P3 currently. White flag in the air. Looks like Hayden Tullison's going to have a free win. Ethan Stuckwish with the switchback on James Murphy. He is going to get it through 4. It's going to be Ethan Stuckwish lunging from out of nowhere in the last 3 laps to capitalize on that big battle between Hayden and James. That was fantastic racing all the way around. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to send a message to someone. So I'm trying to re-navigate my way back to where I belong here in my files and such. All right, heat race number 3. Here we go. Michael Coate, Derek Jester, RBJ in P6. Can't wait to see what he is going to do. Or, sorry, Ian Lindell is in P6. Robbie Buchanan Jr., P5. Clayton Clewell, P4. Casey Borgmeyer, P3. Dylan Jones, P2. And your pole sitter for heat race number 3 is going to be the 24 of Zach Weisenfluh. So Zach has the button here. Will he press it early? Yes, he will. Half the driver's not even to the apex of the corner yet. Incredible start by Zach Weisenfluh. And he is going to open up a huge gap because of it. Casey Borgmeyer holding on to P2 like his life depends on it. Same thing here with RBJ. Gonna try to get everything he can out of this 31 late model. And RBJ has a lot of competition behind him, but already up to P3, looking for more. Casey Borgmeyer gonna run purple, though. As Casey Borgmeyer has got a train behind him of super late models looking to take over his position. That is Clayton Clewell with an absolutely crazy line through that last corner. Oh my goodness. Washing all the way up at unfathomable speeds. RBJ still trying to go to work on Casey Borgmeyer here. Casey putting his car in the best position to not be overtaken. RBJ hits the wall, trying to push up onto that cushion as hard as he can. Dylan Jones now looking to take over that final podium spot from RBJ. He's not going to get it. RBJ with too much momentum, ripping the top. He barely slows down for the corners. 2 laps to go. Dylan Jones in pursuit, but Casey Borgmeyer had a really big oopsie. He is going to drop down all the way into P4. It's almost exactly like I believe it was Zach Weisenfluh last heat. As coming across the line, or I apologize, Zach Weisenfluh's going to win this heat. That's why he was on the mind. RBJ is going to bring home P2. Dylan Jones, P3. Casey Borgmeyer, unfortunately, after almost a perfect defense, drops down 2 positions into P4. As ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to race our first consolation of the night here at Cedar Lake. There might only be one consolation. I'm not entirely sure. I got tripped up on that 2 weeks ago. Look at me reciting lore. As the grid for this B main is going to be Troy Deschong in P10, Scott Merrick on the inside of that row. Row number 4 is going to consist of Derek Jester and Justin Byram. P6 for Tyson Banks. He needs to get through. Ian Lindell in P5. Justin Sick, P4. Aaron Bowman, P3. Dylan Jones, P2. And Will Bennett will be your pole sitter for our first and maybe only consolation. as the sun begins to set here at Cedar Lake. The drive, the skill, the passion will shine. Will Bennett takes us away, and we are racing our first consolation here in round number 8. Dylan Jones not off to a fantastic start. Justin Sick looking to take advantage of that. He's going to roll the bottom in that number 2 super late model. He is going to drive it low, drive it hard. Dylan Jones, however, is ripping that top, not caring about grip whatsoever. He just wants to fly. He's going to go for a move on Will Bennett. The 222s fighting for P1 and 2. Whew, that was cold. Dylan Jones not able, but now around the top side, he's going to make it stick, moving down. That's going to cost him momentum, and we are yellow in a B main. Not something you see all the time here. As it looks like Justin Byram might have just... Not entirely sure. We're going to see Troy DeShong here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, he collide. Whoa, okay. So the 56, the 19... and Troy DeShong all are just going to collide going across the start-finish line. That's why Justin Byram had to stop. Troy DeShong, who we don't see regularly around here, sat in the back all night, and we'll look at it again. That is just unfortunate. That is very unfortunate track position to go 3 wide in. You're essentially trying to go 3 wide. In the upper half of the track, Dylan Jones is now bringing us away here again. We are on lap 5 of 12. Coming across the line, we will have 7 laps to go. As Dylan Jones now with 6 laps to go. They're going to be 4 wide in the back. Derek Jester, Ian Lindell, Tyson Banks, Scott Merrick. Tyson Banks needs to make some moves if he wants to help his championship chances. He has got to go for something, and he's got to do it now. He cannot just fall into this vortex of following the guy in front of him. He has got to make some moves happen. Tyson Banks in that 747 going to try for a move on Scott Merrick. Cannot let it stick. He is going to try to rip around the top side now, maybe build some momentum. He has only got 2 more laps to get this done. I think he needs 1 position. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he needs 1 position. And Tyson Banks isn't going to get it. So we'll have to see how the numbers work out if he's going to make the feature. Coming across the white flag, it is going to be Dylan Jones who takes it home. Justin Sick in P2, Aaron Bowman in P3. They all had pretty sizable gaps to each other. As yes, we do have a second B main getting ready to go here in P10. It is going to be Samuel Lawson In P9, it is going to be Michael Coate, Dylan Del Mastro in P8. Jeffrey Hyatt in P7, Clayton Clewell, P6, Nate Wimhoff, P5, Brandon Jones, P4, Casey Borgmeyer, P3, Derek Darnell, P2, and your pole sitter for our final consolation here before the main event, the number 65 Twisted Speed car, driven by James Murphy. So 12 more laps and we will be heading into our main event. Here we go, the iRacing pace truck about to pull off. James Murphy gonna lead us away here in our final race before the main event. They've got 12 laps to get it done. Can Casey Borgmeyer transfer out after having an incredibly defensive and well-fought heat race? Unfortunately, with 2 laps to go, made a big mistake, did not get the transfer spot. He is here in the B main. His chances look good, but if you look up and down this grid, these are all drivers that we are very accustomed to seeing in every single main event. So, some sad nights are going to fall upon us here tonight. There are going to be at least 4 drivers here that have had their nights ended earlier than expected. And look at this. They are like, what is this? 6 wide, 7 wide going through. They're 4 wide right there. That is incredible that these drivers are able to keep this up. What a save by Brandon Jones. Nate Wimhoff here. He is the meat of the sandwich. They are, I mean, look at them. They're almost 5 wide right there. We are racing here in the Dirt Revival Tour. It doesn't matter if it's a B main. The race control is literally being ran by the biggest B main bandit the Southeast has ever seen. Out in front, I apologize, but James Murphy just has it. Derek Darnell right behind him. Derek Darnell has a half-second lead to the rest of the cars. James Murphy has a second lead on Derek Darnell. But Jeffrey Hyatt, look at him coming all the way from P7 up into P3 right now. He has essentially caught Derek Darnell. I don't know if Derek Darnell maybe got complacent, maybe zoned out a little bit, but these cars are nipping right on the heel again. Jeffrey Hyatt's going to make the overtake work for P2. He is locked and loaded in that position. Derek Darnell's pace just falling off a cliff. White flag is out. Nate Wimhoff is going to be able to get around him. And at this point, it's how do you stop the bleeding? If you're Derek Darnell, how do you stop hemorrhaging positions? But unfortunately, that's going to be from P2 to P4 very, very quick. For Derek Darnell, James Murphy going to be your winner by 1.5 seconds over Jeffrey Hyatt and Nate Wimhoff. As now, I was told by race control we are not going to have a warm-up tonight. So they're going to have 1 minute to get their setups tuned and perfected. And then we are going racing. No 5-minute intermission. And unfortunately, I am being told in my earpiece that we are experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties. You guys might notice some lag over there on your side. If you do, I apologize. We're going to try to get it resolved as quick as possible. But we are about to go racing. Here in just a second, here at Cedar Lake. I want to just thank all the sponsors again. Their logo has been flashing. Willie T Performance. How could I forget Willie T? Owner-operator is William Thayer here, who is a regular here in the DRT. So we have Ethan Stuckwish doing donuts in the pits. Jesse Newsom gonna join him. Ethan Stuckwish in that Mizzou hoodie. You can see that on his player or driver profile, sorry, in the bottom left. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going racing here at Cedar Lake. And you know what that means. It's time for your starting grid. P24 is going to be Michael Coate, Troy DeShong, Casey Borgmeyer, Derek Jester, Samuel Lawson, Ian Lindell, Clayton Clewell, Tyson Banks, Dylan Del Mastro, Scott Merrick, Derek Darnell, Will Bennett, Nate Wimhoff, Aaron Bowman, Jeffrey Hyatt, P9 Justin Sick, P8 James Murphy, P7 Dylan Jones, P6 Robbie Buchanan Jr. He's going to have to make some positions up. P5 Ethan Stuckwish. P4 is going to be Mason Cassidy, Zach Weisenfla, P3. P2 is going to be Hayden Tullison. And your pole sitter for tonight's main event in the number 11, representing Coast to Coast Sim Sports, Jesse Newsom. These drivers have been looking forward to this race all week. For a lot of drivers in the DRT, this is their favorite track on the schedule. As I'm not entirely sure what just happened. That was crazy. Oh. If you can hear me, I apologize. I apologize deeply. The technical difficulties are getting worse, I'm afraid. As that is not I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Oh no, this is not good.
I might swerve in that corner, whoa.
As we are lap 3 in... Oh no. Oh, this is not good.